Good morning. On behalf of my team members from the Middle States Accreditation Board and on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the Middle States Accreditation, I welcome you to our exit report to Queensborough's self-study and accreditation visit. The team thanks the institution for its warm welcome and its attention to all the logistical details. Can you hear me back there? Yes. Okay. And its attention to all the logistical details with both the arrangements in preparation for the visit as well as those of the actual visit. Everyone was most accommodating and flexible with any changes in persons to be interviewed or college offices to visit. Both the resource room at the college and at the hotel was stocked with materials of information to assist us in the exploration of validating the self-study to the characteristics of excellence. We want to especially acknowledge the college's support for IT assistance in the resource room and workrooms and for placing an information systems specialist at the hotel in case of any unanticipated IT issues the team may encounter. The team members interviewed dozens of faculty, staff, and administrators and reviewed dozens of binders and report documents and databases to reach its conclusions. Queensborough Community College is a wonderful college where dedicated faculty and staff meet the needs of students on a daily basis. From the full array of offerings in developmental education and English as a second language to the extraordinary research opportunities secured through grants for both faculty and student scholars. QCC has distinguished itself as a community college to watch as we approach the end of the first decade of the 20th century and you, a vibrant institution, achieve the 50-year milestone. You are reaching out to the various constituencies which you serve in significant and profound ways. Your nationally recognized College Now program grooming promising high school students for college careers by providing rigorous coursework. A CUNY-wide initiative, QCC's College Now area coordinates activities in 8 high schools with 58 to 62 classes being offered each semester. There is a campus orientation followed by visits to the library and the art museum. QCC faculty members collaborate with high school faculty in fashioning curricula that whet the appetites of inquiring minds. Based on the research of noted scholars like Vincent Tento, your freshman academies hold tremendous promise for your students and the faculty and staff who will be engaged in making this exceptional arrangement come to fruition. We look forward to hearing about your efforts when you present at national conferences in the years to come. The Kupferberg Holocaust Resource Center and Archives is continuing to attract scholars throughout the nation as well as internationally. As you await the opening of your brand new facility this coming fall, you should feel proud of the fact that QCC has been designated by New York City as a hate crimes center. Your curriculum will be used throughout New York City schools. And finally, the Art Gallery has been recognized in the national media for its world-class, multidimensional offerings and its value as a cultural resource to the surrounding New York City community. Let me report on the compliance with the accreditation standards. Standard number 1 and standard number 6, mission and goals and integrity. The institution meets both of these standards. The current mission statement was developed using a process that included opportunities for participation and input from the entire college community. The mission statement clearly defines QCC's purpose within the context of higher education, differentiates it from other institutions, and establishes its institutional uniqueness. The college uses the mission statement to guide decision-making as it is as appropriate. The college has made a monumental step forward in its strategic planning by directly linking the mission statement with 3 to 5 year strategic goals and objectives. There is evidence that the mission statement has regularly been used to guide many types of decision-making, including the new freshman academies, departmental planning, budgeting, resource allocation, hiring, and others throughout the institution, although the link between these plans and the mission is often more implicit in nature than explicit. The college culture is reflective of the high level of respect granted to all constituents, faculty, staff, administrators, students, and external constituents. There is clear evidence of respect and collegiality in the many college-wide initiatives, committees, and activities that demonstrate the commitment to full participation in the achievement of the mission of the college. Students, faculty, and other employees of the college who were interviewed were consistent in their opinion that they were valued members of the college community and were treated with respect. The focus on articulating an academic integrity policy shows evidence of an institution that has made a commitment to a high level of integrity. The policy is widely available to students and faculty. Additionally, the recently established Institutional Review Board shows that the institution is strongly committed to protecting the rights of human subjects in the undertaking of pedagogical research. These and other actions show that the institution continues to commit itself to appropriately high levels of ethics and integrity. One of the challenges faced by all institutions of higher education is the task of making an enormous amount of information available from multiple constituencies in a manner that makes access to the information easy and makes the operations, policies, and procedures for the institution transparent. In several instances, the team found that they were unable to easily locate some standard documents. For example, the search engine of the college website was unable to locate a student code of conduct, and the code was not included as part of the student handbook, where one might normally expect it to be. Nor was the information relative to retention and graduation rates easily accessible to students or other outside constituents on the college website without first knowing the web location. We found several examples where information from multiple constituencies, including faculty, staff, students, and prospective students, was not as easily as acceptable or as transparent as it should have been. Significant accomplishments and progress and innovative practices. In 2005, the college reviewed and modified its mission statement. At the suggestion of the College Advisory Planning Committee, the college undertook a highly participatory process of review and renewal of the mission statement. This is evidence that those who take a leadership role in planning understand the significance of an accurate, complete, and well-thought-out mission statement and are committed to making the link between mission and institutional planning. We have some suggestions for improvement for these standards. The team suggests that the college undertake a review of the format of the mission statement. While the mission statement clearly meets the standard, it does not delineate between mission and goals as articulated within the standard. The mission of the college is intended to define the type of institution it hopes to be or to become. The goals describe how the college intends to go about reaching its mission. Once the goals, in your particular case, if you look at your mission statement, it's the second paragraph of your mission statement. Once the goals are delineated from the mission itself, the college may find that it can be more efficient in setting planning goals and in measuring institutional effectiveness. Institutional level planning, such as strategic planning, enrollment management planning, and facilities planning, become easier when the question associated of how is clearly agreed to as part of the agreement on the mission statement. Should the college undertake such a review, it might want to consider adding some component to the mission or goals relative to the efficient use of resources. Certainly, there is ample evidence of the college's excellent use of its resources, but as a public institution, the college should consider whether such language would formalize its commitment to using its limited resources in the most efficient and effective manner. This would be consistent with Goals 7, 8, and 9 in the draft of the new 3-year QCC strategic plan. The college should consider formalizing a review of the mission statement as part of the long-range strategic planning process. And by the way, my team members, when I spoke with Dr. Marti, he told me that happens on an annual basis, so we'll correct that in the report. The college should consider a review of the accessibility and transparency of information to constituents, focusing on integrating web links for pertinent information, along with reviewing the ease of access of information available on the QCC website. We have no recommendations and no requirements. Let me do a sidestep here and explain, for those of you who are not familiar with the process, what the difference is between a suggestion, a recommendation, and a requirement. A suggestion is consultative advice from the team to you as colleagues for you to strengthen what you're already doing and to elevate it to a much more prominent level of excellence. A recommendation is something that you will be required to follow up. And a requirement would be something where the team would have found you in non-compliance with any of the standards. And just to ease your mind, there are no requirements contained in this report, so you're doing well. You will see one recommendation, though. So again, you'll see throughout my report suggestions. It's consultative advice to you, and you don't have to report on it in your periodic review. It's helpful advice to you. We hope you take it. If you don't, that's certainly your prerogative to do so. Standard 2, planning and institutional renewal, and Standard 3, institutional resources. The team finds the college in compliance with these standards. The resource allocations appear to be sufficient to meet the current needs for existing and proposed academic programs. There is recognition that there has been a disjointed approach to funding special programs and project initiatives. As a result, a more cohesive strategic planning process is being inaugurated for fiscal year 2010, Gesundheit, to ensure consistency in the planning budget and the corresponding alignment with the QCC mission. In the area of planning, in response to a recommendation from the last middle stage self-study process, the college has implemented a range of planning efforts to advance the college's strategic agenda. Examples of these include the 2006 Long-Range Plan for QCC, the annual strategic planning process, the 2005 through 2009 Technology Plan, and the Plan for Integrated Education. Development of a comprehensive integrated planning process is still a work in progress for the college. However, over the past 5 years, significant progress has been made. For the past several cycles, the formal strategic plan development process has been handled on a 1 year at a time basis. Beginning with the 2009-2010 year, a 3-year time horizon is being employed. In addition, the development of the plan has been restructured to align the plan with the college's mission. Currently, the college does not have one central office responsible for coordinating the overall strategic planning efforts of the college. An effective 4-year technology plan covering the period from 2005 through 2009 has been in place, which has guided a thoughtful incorporation of technology into instruction and the delivery of student services. A great percentage of the plan has been achieved. Significant funding for student use technology has been provided through the technology fee. While detailed planning for many aspects of academic programs and services has been undertaken by the college does not have a comprehensive academic master plan which can serve as an overarching vehicle to clarify the directions being taken and to set priorities for the college's future development of academic programs and services. The comprehensive planning for the freshman academies currently underway is viewed by some college staff as a key step toward developing a comprehensive academic master plan. However, many issues, such as future requirements for new course and program development, the expanding role for distance learning, labor market needs, and other alternative instructional delivery strategies cannot be met with this type of planning. Similarly, while many specific student services delivery plan exist, a comprehensive enrollment management plan does not exist. In the area of facilities, the campus is situated on 37 acres in an attractive residential community. The Cuny space guidelines identify a need for QCC to add 106,000 net square feet of instructional space to address the current level of FTE enrollments. The college does not have a facilities master plan, which would help to set priorities and quantify needs for future facility redevelopment and expansion. The current Cuny master plan does not make a specific commitment to future investment in QCC facilities. Unlike the four-year Cuny colleges, the Cuny community colleges require capital support from the city as well as the state for new construction. This makes the approval process for major new capital projects difficult to accomplish. A new instructional building has been identified as the first construction in 30 years, and it has been identified as a critical need for the campus. But it is currently expected that completion of the project could take as long as 8 to 10 years. This long time frame is due both to the initial investments in campus infrastructure, which are required to be made first, and the complex steps it required to develop both local and state support for the project. Despite the lack of funding for major new construction, there has been ongoing effort to renew and redesign the campus to meet current requirements and current planning priorities. Substantial dollars have been made available to QCC from local governments for a wide range of projects. The college has talented in-house technical and craft staff who have been able to undertake a wide range of campus renovations and infrastructure upgrade projects at lower costs and with a more timely response to campus needs than would have been possible through the use of outside contractors. In the area of budgeting and finance, for the past half-decade, funding for the college has been sufficiently adequate for the college to undertake a wide range of new strategic initiatives and to provide financial support for full-time faculty and staff position growth. In the past half-decade, the college has greatly strengthened its efforts to develop grant and private gift-giving support for the college. In the most recent fiscal year, over $2.8 million has been raised. Under new financial leadership at QCC, efforts are underway to strengthen internal budgeting processes and strengthen the ties between the college's planning and budgeting efforts. Consistent with Cuny Compact goals, QCC has developed financial incentives which encourage the academic departments to achieve enrollment revenue growth by allowing them to keep a portion of the revenue growth for departmental purposes. Cuny is in the initial stages of implementing a new ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning, using PeopleSoft. QCC is one of the two colleges chosen to serve as a vanguard site for the implementation. Resources have been provided from Cuny Central to QCC to support their efforts in the implementation process. The college is commended for its decision to serve as one of the two vanguard colleges to provide leadership in the PeopleSoft ERP implementation. The college is commended for its successful efforts to develop grants and private gifts to advance college priorities. And the college is commended for its creativity in repurposing building and spaces with a talented in-house staff. We have some suggestions to make to you. In order to make optimal use of capital funds as they become available, as well as to make the strongest case possible for increased capital support, the college should undertake the development of a comprehensive facilities master plan for QCC. During the ongoing implementation of the PeopleSoft ERP, careful attention should be paid to the information capabilities of the systems and the ways that expanded and improved data can be extracted from the new Oracle database to support the college's planning, management, and assessment efforts. Within the strategic goals framework set by the college's strategic plan, formal academic master and enrollment management planning should be developed. Gesundheit, Gesundheit. The current technology plan should be updated to address the next several years. The college should consider assigning one staff member clear responsibility and authority for the coordination of the college's strategic planning efforts. In the areas of Standard 4, Leadership and Governance, and Standard 5, Administration, the institution meets these standards. QCC has a well-defined system of collegial governance. The local governing body at QCC is the Academic Senate, which has its own bylaws and is the voice of the academic community. Ongoing activities of Senate subcommittees have brought about actions providing evidence that shared governance at QCC is effective. Evidence from interviews and documentation verify that the Academic Senate provides a mechanism for a collegial process of governance. The vice presidents work collaboratively as a team and are committed to maintaining the flow of consistent and accurate information within their areas and across the college. Clear lines of authority are evidenced on the college's organizational charts. College administration works well with the two collective bargaining units at the college. Most instructional staff members, which include faculty, HEO, and college laboratory technicians, are represented by the PSC Cuny, and civil service employees are represented by a separate group. Significant accomplishments. The president is commended for creating an environment that encourages change and innovation. The president is viewed across the college community as an advocate for students and employees. The steering committee functions on a 12-month basis. In response to the concern that HEOs did not have involvement in the Academic Senate, the Committee on Bylaws reviewed and recommended that 2 voting seats from members of the administrative staff be added, and subsequently the bylaws were amended. This change provided the constituency with appropriate representation in the actions of the Academic Senate. The President most recently conducted an all-day meeting, which will become part of an annual cycle of forums with the HEO group. And the forum was open to everyone and provided an opportunity to discuss college-related issues of interest. The Vice Chancellor served as a guest speaker. We have no suggestions for improvement nor any recommendations. Standard 8, Student Admissions and Retention, and Standard 9, Student Support Services. The institution meets these standards. A review of institutional publications and the website indicates that admission policies reflect and support the college's mission and are designed to assist prospective students in making informed decisions. The implementation of the new ERP system will further automate and integrate admission and registration processes, resulting in improved service for learning. A concern was expressed, however, about the length of time it takes to evaluate transcripts of incoming transfer students, which is a growing student population at the college. Recruitment, outreach, and marketing efforts are proactive, well-planned, and coordinated by the Enrollment Management Committee, as evidenced by the college's recent surge in enrollment. Retention of students is an integral part of a college's enrollment development efforts and should be more clearly articulated in the plan. Retention initiatives are clearly evident at the college, although these efforts would benefit from greater coordination and integration. The freshman academies, however, hold great promise for enhancing and integrating the college's retention efforts of first-time, full-time students, and the new 3-year strategic plan provides a comprehensive roadmap to guide its implementation. The college is commended for the commitment to hiring freshman coordinators to assist students in their transition into the academies. It will be important for the college to assess the effectiveness of the academy model as it considers the feasibility of extending eligibility for participation to part-time students. The college offers a comprehensive array of support services to assist students in maximizing their potential and that reflect the college's mission. The college's commitment to providing appropriate services to meet one of the nation's most diverse community college student populations is evidenced by a variety of programs for special student populations. Several staff members expressed concern about the transferability of courses to Cuny for students who do not graduate with a degree. Conducting a comprehensive survey of students regarding the transfer of credits to Cuny would help determine the nature and extent of the concerns and may lead to the development of strategies to address this issue. The college is to be commended for providing student opportunities to participate in the governance process. Student policies and procedures are communicated to students in various publications and the website, although there appear to be some inconsistencies across mediums. And it would be beneficial to conduct an audit of the publications and the website to ensure greater consistency, accuracy, and transparency of these policies and procedures for students. Let me back up to one of the comments up here. Regarding the involvement by students in the shared governance process. There was clear evidence that student government leaders and others clearly had access to the college's decision makers, including the president, to share their concerns and issues. Students were able to provide specific examples of how their concerns were addressed and resolved by the institution. A comprehensive and coordinated program that assesses student needs, satisfaction, and learning is essential for improving programs, services, and practices for students and documenting continuous quality improvement. Evidence exists that a foundation for assessment exists within the year-end reports for student affairs, although the process could be strengthened, as will be evident in the section of the report on student learning outcomes later on in this report. The Student Affairs Division's proactive efforts to streamline and integrate transition processes for new students is commendable. The Freshman Academy model holds great promise for integrating college retention and efforts and increasing student retention and graduation rates. Students are active participants in the college's governance process and feel a strong sense of community and support at the college. Some suggestions we're making: the team suggests that the college consider evaluating the effectiveness of transcript evaluation services for incoming transfer students and consider modifications based on the results. Developing a comprehensive enrollment management plan that includes specific enrollment and retention benchmarks, incorporates credit and non-credit program development, and demonstrate that systematic market research is being conducted to identify potential new market, and linking these efforts to the college's strategic plan and by developing a more formalized process for assessing the effectiveness of these efforts. The team recommends that the college may want to consider sending a college-wide team to workshops by groups like Noel Levitt's or SEM that focus on strategic enrollment management and planning. Conducting a comprehensive survey of students transferring to Cuny regarding the transfer of credits and the use of to use the results to address the issue. Conducting an audit of the college's publications and its websites to ensure greater consistency, accuracy, and transparency of college policies and procedures for students. Standard number 10 on faculty: the institution meets this standard. Faculty are defined as those persons holding professorial title, lecturers, instructors, and persons in the registrar series, college laboratory technicians who have received notice of appointment on an annual salary basis for a third or later year of continuous full-time services. Faculty and other professionals are appropriately prepared and qualified for the positions they hold, with roles and responsibilities clearly defined. They are members of the Cuny Professional Staff Congress. Full-time faculty teach 53% of the classes, and the average class size is 24 students. That's a number that when we sent the report back to you, we need you to verify, because Dr. Marti thought it was a different number. 58% of the full-time faculty have doctoral degrees. There are 17 academic department chairpersons. As a teaching college, full-time teaching faculty teach, conduct research in pedagogy and/or in their discipline, design and maintain curriculum, perform academic advisement, and participate in governance. Faculty are expected to excel in teaching, provide service to the department, college, and the university, and conduct research. Let me move to significant accomplishments. A significant majority of full-time faculty are involved in continuous professional development and pedagogical research activities that inform them of best practices, new skills, and methodologies that are used to improve their classroom instruction and programs. The Centers for Excellence in Teaching and Learning represent a commitment from the college to support professional development for faculty interested in enhancing their pedagogical skills. QCC has recognized that the ethnic distribution of the full-time faculty varies greatly from the ethnic distribution of the student body and has made a serious commitment to increase the percentage of tenure-track minority faculty. And the team concurs with the self-study recommendation to continue its efforts to increase the diversity of teaching faculty. Standards 11 and 12, educational offerings, and general education standards. Let me skip over some of these. The college has developed 10 general education competencies which all students graduating with an associate's degree are expected to demonstrate. The general education descriptions and requirements are listed in the 2008-09 online college catalog. The library administrator and professional staff have extensive academic training, most having at least one degree beyond the MLS. The campus learning centers, such as the Basic Skills Learning Center, the Mathematics and Social and Science Learning Center, the Campus Writing Center, Academic Computer Center, a Language Immersion Program, Port of Entry programs for Asian students not in ESL, show evidence of tremendous support for students in their learning programs. Faculty, staff, and administrators collaborate in the formulation and execution of innovative practices that have been proven through extensive research to engage students and to foster a climate of student achievement. The development and revision through several programs over 10 years have resulted in design of 6 freshman academies. The freshman academies will provide intensive academic and student support services for all first-time, full-time students. The team makes some suggestions. The information literacy initiative must be promoted so that it truly becomes an across-the-curriculum activity, and the role of the librarians and classroom teachers are clearly defined and known to the college community. Each course program curriculum review should contain a library review which includes the library's ability to support the initiatives through material, staff, and budget. Related educational activities. Certificate programs in continuing education are growing as a direct result of market research that identifies needs within the broader community. Other strategies have also rendered positive results. The early release of the non-credit catalog, decreased pricing, and offering targeted discounts. Market research demonstrated that youth and seniors were underserved in the general population. Continuing education answered with expanded programming, the Kids College and the 50-plus Club. The new director of continuing education is moving into the middle schools and high schools to offer specialized programming. There are a myriad English as a second language programs under the QCC umbrella. Myriad is single, so there is a myriad of English as a second language programs. Under the QCC umbrella. Maybe I need English as a second language. There is a close relationship between the faculty who teach in specific academic departments and their associated academic support centers. Significant accomplishments. have to do, the Director of Continuing Education has established an advisory planning committee to enlist the support of business and industry in advising QCC faculty and staff on curriculum enhancements and programming options. The Cuny Language Immersion Program is to be commended for its attempt to address the needs of immigrant students who have been enrolled in the Cuny system but who don't have the requisite English literacy skills to enroll in Basic Educational Skills Department. The Center for Excellence in Teaching and Learning is supporting the college's objective of instituting a culture of pedagogical research. Suggestions for improvement: although the myriad ESL programs appear to address the needs of specific populations of students, there is little evidence of the linkages between the program in the printed materials. It would be advisable to have schematics which depict the intersection between the various levels of programming. President Marti has assembled a restructuring committee to review the way in which academic support centers are funded for tutoring services. In the same way that the Continuing Education Division is utilizing market research to determine new programmatic offerings, the credit areas of the college should embark on a similar strategy to determine labor market needs as part of the comprehensive academic and enrollment management planning process. Finally, the areas of institutional assessment, Standard 7 and Standard 14, assessment of student learning. Essential to meeting Standards 7 and 14 is the presence of an organized, systematized, and sustained process of assessment. You'll hear that repeated several times. It's out of the standards from the Middle States characteristics. Organized, systematized, and sustained process. While there is evidence that QCC has plans for institutional and student learning assessment at several levels of the institution lacks an organized, systematized, and sustained process. The committee concludes that the majority of the component pieces necessary to fully meet the standards are evident, but they are not linked into an organized, systematized, and sustained process. There is evidence that assessment of mission and institutional effectiveness includes both CUNY system-defined indicators and QCC locally defined assessments. The system-defined measures are described in the performance management process. Locally defined assessment of student learning are described at 4 levels: course, department, including both teaching and non-teaching, program, and institution. In the QCC 2004 periodic review report, it is stated, and I quote, "Over the past 5 years, the college's assessment committee has focused its efforts on developing a method to assess student learning outcomes in general education, in academic programs, and across individual courses." End of quote. The self-study shows that locally defined assessments are planned and reported through several documents that are intended to feed one another. At the institution level, assessment is described in a document called the College Assessment Plan Schedule of Assessments, Surveys, Questionnaires, and Data Reports. At this level, assessment includes analysis of graduation and transfer data as well as analysis of student performance on the CUNY proficiency examinations. Here are our findings. While there is evidence of assessment at several levels of the institution, again, the process does not appear to be organized, systematized, and sustained. Evidence of course-level assessment provided to the visiting team did not clearly indicate how courses were selected for assessment, nor is there evidence of a schedule of course assessment. In the fall 2003, spring 2004 pilot course assessment project, it is stated that 23 courses from 15 departments were assessed in the fall 2003 or spring 2004. Similar summary data regarding the number of courses assessed does not exist for the years since that report. A review of the 2005 through 2008 annual department reports indicate that some departments continue to regularly assess courses while others do not. Middle States Standards 7 and 14 also require that institutions provide, and I quote, clear, visible, and convincing evidence, end of quote, of student learning. The template for QCC course assessment form provides examples of convincing evidence. The corresponding course assessment reports were not available in the evidence room. When asked for course assessment documents, the institution was unable to provide them. While the annual program reports available in the resource room contained a summary of course assessment results, convincing evidence is not consistently provided in the program summaries of course assessment. The self-study states, again I quote, that all departments have instituted or are in the process of instituting assessments of their progress in achieving general education and curricular objectives. This has been embedded into the program review since 2004 and 2005, end of quote. A few program review documents were available in the resource room. Inspection of the assessment section of the 2006 AA degree program in liberal arts and sciences revealed a plan for assessment as well as evidence of data collected and actions suggested. Since the program review is on a 5-year cycle, follow-up on resulting actions need to be tied back to the appropriate annual department report or course assessment. An attempt to follow one program review action back to the annual and course reports was not able to be achieved. For example, inspection of the assessment section of the 2008 degree program in Fine and Performing Arts demonstrated evidence of assessment planning, but did not provide evidence that assessment had been carried out. At the institution level, there is evidence of use of Cuny system-defined data. The PMP data, which includes placement and exit from remediation data, as well as results from the Cuny proficiency examination, is reviewed by the institution. While the self-study suggests that the annual completion report, quote, aligns Cuny's master plan and the college's strategic plan with outcomes across departments, programs, and divisions, end of quote, there is a lack of evidence of sustained use of locally defined institutional assessment data. Institution-level assessment was reported in the 2004 periodic plan review. There is no evidence that this or a similar report has been made since 2004. No evidence of either a new or updated assessment plan was found. The assessment committee, which developed these criteria in 2003 and the templates for the plan, stopped functioning around 2006, and no evidence could be found of any college-wide assessment activity through this particular committee since then. The current online course offerings do not contain any plan for assessment of student learning outcomes. This team suggests that the college gain expertise by familiarizing itself with best practices in the area of assessment, and we have the following recommendation. In order to develop, implement, and document an organized and sustained assessment process to evaluate and improve student learning, as well as the achievement of institutional mission and goals, the institution needs to, first, create a conceptual framework for assessment describing the relationship between assessments at all levels, establish criteria for selection of courses to be assessed. These criteria may include department-specific criteria. Third, establish and implement a schedule of course assessment. Fourth, include in annual department reports convincing evidence of course-embedded assessment. 5, establish clear links between the goals selected for assessment at the course, department, and program levels. 6, utilize an appropriate department annual report to report on follow-up assessment of actions appearing in the assessment component of program review reports. Establish a clear link between mission and assessment of institutional effectiveness. Create a central repository for assessment data. 9, assure that the assessment process is monitored and reviewed for effectiveness, and ensure that all departments, teaching and non-teaching, are participating in the assessment of student learning including assessment of distance learning. That concludes our report. Let me describe the next steps from here. I will be sending this report to my team members one more time for their review and corrections and changes. I will then send, and that will happen within the week. In 2 weeks after I receive it back from the team, I will send it to the college for accuracy review. The college will then look, say, hey, you got a number wrong or something, send it back to me. I will then send it to the Middle States Accreditation Board along with a chair's brief. The chair's brief will contain our recommendation to the Commission Board for action on accreditation. It's my understanding, and then I will come to Middle States in May probably to present my chair's report with my recommendation or our recommendation, and then it'll go on the agenda in June at the Commission Board meeting. And it's the Commission that makes the determination for accreditation, reaccreditation, or whatever action it decides to commit to the college. So that's the process from here. And I want to thank you one more time for the incredible welcome that you gave to us and the diligence you all undertook in taking the self-study serious and producing documents and evidence for us to evaluate your excellence, to affirm and reaffirm your excellence, and to be helpful to you as colleagues to move you forward into another level of excellence as the community college that serves the borough of Queens. So with that, I thank you once again. Have a wonderful day and enjoy the spring weather. Thanks.